Submit to me or my dragon shall perish you. Until the human's charm got to her, Thane Rathmore stands at the edge of the ridge, scanning the horizon with his sharp, dark eyes. The wind ruffles his long hair, and his beard shifts slightly against his chest as he breathes in the scent of distant smoke and dust. Tribal tattoos wrap around his powerful arms, a silent testament to battles fought, alliances broken, and memories both triumphant and tragic. Below him, the valley stretches, out in a haze of ochre and gold, lit by a sun that feels fiercer with every passing day. On the far side of that valley lies an encampment of the newly risen Renzai Dominion, an ever-expanding empire whose power threatens to eclipse every free system in the sector. Thane adjusts the hilt of his sword strapped across his back, feeling the weight of his responsibility. Behind him, a handful of resistance fighters wait, some armed with disruptor rifles, others with vibrational swords or improvised blaster pistols. Their uniforms bear the tattered crest of the Mytherion resistance, a loosely united front that Thane has sworn to lead. He clenches his fists at his sides, shoulders tense beneath the woven cloak he wears to shield himself from the sun. Today, they will attempt to sabotage a Renzai supply convoy rumored to be carrying advanced weaponry. It's a daring plan, one that he has spent weeks strategizing, but courage alone will not guarantee success. Thane feels a knot in his stomach, a low-level hum of anxiety that he can't quite dismiss. He has lost too many good people in raids like these. The memory haunts him, and with it comes a vow that it will not happen again. He gives a hand signal to his team, instructing them to move forward. They descend through the rocky path, skirting tall spires of wind-carved stone. The ground vibrates beneath their boots, as if the planet itself resents the Dominion's presence. Thane's steps are sure and silent, his training evident with every cautious footfall. He motions for his team to spread out, taking cover behind the jagged outcrops. He's about to order the next move when he hears a sudden roar in the distance, a sound both primal and commanding. He feels the rumble resonate in his chest. His eyes flick to the sky, and his heart jolts at the sight of an enormous silhouette, gliding through the sunlit air. At first, all he sees is a pair of leathery wings, stretching wide, easily the span of a starship's hull. Then he discerns the graceful curve of a scaled neck, the broad body, the flick of a reptilian tail. His mind races, a dragon, legendary even among the countless species that fill this galaxy. He's heard of them, but never believed he would see one in the flesh. It descends with a furious gust of wind and dust, landing atop a boulder just beyond the path he'd been planning to follow. His team freezes, instinctively raising their weapons, yet Thane motions for them to hold. Awe wrestles with caution in his chest. The creature's hide is a blend of earthen tones and shimmering, metallic edges, as though forged from living bronze. Smoke curls from its nostrils. Upon its back sits a lone rider, lithe and poised, silhouetted against the mid-morning sun. Then the rider dismounts, with a kind of elegant athleticism, landing lightly on the parched ground. As the dust clears, Thane sees that she is tall, nearly as tall as he is, with toned limbs and an otherworldly beauty. Her skin is a greenish hue, with subtle reflective patterns that catch the light. She wears form-fitting battle attire made of exotic scales and intricate metal plates, highlighting her lean, strong form. A swath of black hair flows down her back, shifting around her pointed ears. Her luminous eyes, more gold than brown, lock onto Thane with a determined intensity. He notices that her cheeks flush with a faint glow, as if her skin resonates with her emotions. He narrows his gaze, uncertain of her intentions. She looks like no Dominion soldier he has encountered. On the contrary, her stance radiates an independence that suggests she fights for her own cause. Her voice rings out, a clarion call that commands attention. Submit to me, or my dragon shall perish you. The threat echoes, stark and unyielding, and Thane feels a ripple of tension pass through his fighters. The dragon behind her huffs, exhaling a warm gust that rustles the dust at its feet. But Thane, instead of raising his weapon, takes a step forward. "We are not your enemies," he says, voice steady despite the thunder of his pulse. He glances at her mount, a mythical beast, obviously bound to her in some profound way. He senses a kind of empathy radiating from the creature, like an alien, intelligence evaluating him through serpentine eyes. "We're here to strike at the Renzai Dominion." A flicker of surprise crosses her face, though she masks it quickly with imperious calm. "You do not run from Mytherion. That is unusual." There's a slight tilt to her head as she regards him, curiosity wrestling with caution. At the mention of the dragon's name, Thane feels something stir within him. Mytherion, an ancient word from half-forgotten stories. Some primal part of his spirit resonates with it. His second-in-command, a lean man named Olmar, steps up beside Thane, weapon still raised. "Commander, we can't trust her," he mutters under his breath. "That beast could torch us all in a second." Thane lifts a hand, signaling Olmar to lower his gun. "If she wanted us dead, she would have done it already. Don't provoke a confrontation we don't need." The memory of how many men he's lost in reckless engagements flickers behind his eyes. He won't add more graves to his regrets unless absolutely necessary. The alien woman, unmoved by their murmured exchange, squares her shoulders. "My name is Serenya Kalrithia. I have hunted the Renzai for many cycles, and Mytherion and I owe no loyalty to them, nor to any who would claim dominion over free worlds." There is a regal air about her, but also weariness, as if she has lived 1,000 battles, each carving a line of tension into her soul. Thane studies her eyes, observing the faint glow that pulses in time with her words. "I am Thane Rathmore, commander of the Lutharian resistance. We are here to strike at the Renzai supply convoy, rumored to pass through this valley." He gestures toward the dusty horizon. "We fight for our people's freedom. Nothing more, nothing less." Her lips curve in the slightest hint of a smile, though her posture remains guarded. "You fight for your people's freedom. I fight for my dragon's survival and for the memory of my kind. We are not so different in our cause." She glances at the band of fighters, noticing their worn gear, their tension. The dragon rumbles behind her, a low resonance that seems almost communicative. Thane guesses they share some empathic bond. She's attuned to its presence in a way no ordinary person could be. "What do you intend to do?" she asks. Thane exhales, measuring his words carefully. The old Thane, the one who had not seen the worst horrors of war, would have jumped at the chance for an ally with this kind of power. Now, caution warns him that forging alliances too quickly can lead to disaster. But the dragon's presence is awe-inspiring, and deep inside him flickers a strange sense that he can connect with the creature. He has always had a certain way with animals, a calm energy that makes even the wildest beasts hesitate. That skill is part of why his men follow him. He has a calming yet commanding presence. "We plan to sabotage the convoy," he says at last. "Take their weapons, disrupt their supply lines, and hopefully weaken their foothold here." His voice is resolute, and the men behind him shift slightly, reaffirming their readiness. Serenya narrows her eyes, considering. "Then our goals are aligned. The Renzai have taken something from me, an artifact that once belonged to my ancestors, whose blood ran thick with the draconic bond. I do not merely want it returned. I want to ensure the Dominion learns never to cross my path again." She steps aside, and Mytherion lowers his massive head, the sunlight flashing off scales that look like hammered bronze. The dragon sniffs the air near Thane, who stands his ground, neither challenging nor flinching. He feels a quiver of adrenaline, not from fear, but from a strange fascination. He sets a steadying hand against the side of Mytherion's jaw, so lightly that it's almost imperceptible. The dragon's great eye shifts to him, and Serenya looks at Thane with a startled intensity. "He allows that?" she murmurs, the faintest echo of astonishment in her voice. Mytherion exhales sharply, not quite a growl, but not entirely affectionate. Thane's men tense, but Thane keeps his composure. Slowly, he lifts his hand. Away! A swirl of dust catches in the breeze, dancing around him and the dragon in a tangible sign of potential synergy. He wonders for a moment if this is some cosmic alignment, a gift from the universe to help them both. Serenya's gaze holds a flicker of wonder, but she swiftly masks it with a disciplined stoicism. "Very well. Show me your plan to strike. If your plan is solid, we will fight alongside you. If not, Mytherion and I will handle it ourselves." Her tone is haughty, suggesting she has little time for half measures or incompetent leadership. Yet beneath the words, Thane senses an unspoken desire for alliance. Perhaps her bravado hides a fear that she and Mytherion cannot do it alone without terrible cost. Thane nods and signals for his men to relax. "Come, there's a cave up ahead we've been using as a temporary hideout. We can speak there." He strides forward, and Serenya follows, her footsteps light upon the sand and stone. Mytherion moves behind them, exhaling warm breaths in rhythmic patterns as they proceed toward the mountainside. As they reach the cave, Thane's team splits up, setting watch points and securing the perimeter. Inside, worn crates of supplies line the walls, and a simple folding table serves as the nerve center of their makeshift operations. A holographic projector sits in the center, flickering with a low hum. Thane activates it, revealing a three-dimensional map of the valley and the planned convoy route. He outlines the route, the likely guard placements, and the timing. Serenya watches closely, offering small nods or narrowing her eyes in thoughtful skepticism at certain points. Her presence unsettles some of the resistance fighters who keep glancing at the massive shape of Mytherion just outside the cave entrance. Yet Thane finds his confidence returning in a strange way. Perhaps it's because he sees how focused she is, how every shift of her luminous eyes reflects a brilliant mind at work. Or maybe it's something more intangible, a sense that destiny has placed them on intersecting paths. When the explanation concludes, she folds her arms, a faint glow pulsing beneath the patterns on her skin. It is a bold plan, and one that will require perfect coordination. Mytherion can provide aerial support, but we cannot be everywhere at once. You will need your best fighters on the ground. The Renzai use sonic weapons that can disrupt a dragon's senses if deployed at close range. She glances at Thane. "You claim your men can handle it?" "We've faced the Renzai before," Thane replies. He struggles to keep his voice level, remembering the fallen. "They can be cunning, but we've learned to adapt. This will be our third raid in as many weeks. That said, having a dragon in the air changes the equation. They won't be prepared. For that," Serenya lifts her chin in a slight nod. "So be it. We raid at dawn. Until then, Mytherion and I will rest. If any come near him without my leave, I cannot guarantee their safety." Her warning is delivered with a regal finality, daring anyone to test her resolve. Then she turns and disappears into the brightness outside. Thane exhales, only now realizing how tense his body had become in her presence. He quickly meets the eyes of his second-in-command. Olmar clears his throat. "Commander, are we sure about this? Fighting alongside that woman and her beast is unusual. Might be more trouble than it's worth." "Could be," Thane acknowledges, massaging the back of his neck. "But if the Renzai bring reinforcements, we'll need every advantage we can get." Another memory surges, the image of his old squad pinned down by superior Dominion firepower. He blinks hard. We're going through with it. Make sure everyone's ready. Double-check the charges. Calibrate the disruptors." "Yes, sir." Olmar steps back, calling out orders to the others. Thane remains behind, staring at the flickering hologram. His mind is pulled in two directions. The unwavering sense of purpose that has guided him through every moment of defiance against the Dominion, and an inexplicable curiosity about Serenya Kalrithia and the bond she shares with the dragon. There is a fierce beauty to her, a relentless certainty in every movement. He wonders if she sees him the same way he sees her, as a potential ally, or perhaps as something more complex and harder to define. Her earlier words ring in his head, that imperious command, "Submit to me or my dragon shall perish you." And yet she is now joining forces with him. It's a contradiction he can't ignore. Outside, Serenya crouches by Mytherion's side, gently running her hand along the dragon's muzzle. She whispers something in a language Thane does not understand, but the way Mytherion's glowing eyes regard her suggests a depth of companionship beyond anything he has witnessed among humans and their mounts. The dragon rumbles softly, lowering its massive head until it rests in the dusty ground. Serenya's gaze briefly lifts and meets Thane's. Across the space between them, an unspoken question seems to pass. Can they truly trust each other in the battles to come? Night falls on the valley, blanketing the camp in a hush broken only by the crackle of small fires, the clink of weapon maintenance, and the sigh of weary fighters settling in to rest. Thane stands alone near the cave mouth, staring up at the star-filled sky. Each of those twinkling lights represents another system, many of which have already fallen under Dominion control. He closes his eyes briefly, recalling the last stand of his old unit on the planet Trelmos. It had been a massacre. He had tried to push back the Dominion siege, only to see his people wiped out in a single bombardment. Survivor's guilt lingers. In his chest, a hollow ache that sometimes roars to life when he considers leading another mission. But that guilt also fuels him. He fights for them, for the memory of those who died because they believed in freedom's cause. A faint scuff of gravel catches his attention. He turns to see Serenya approaching, her lean frame cast in silhouette by the faint orange glow of a lantern behind her. She stops a short distance away. The soft luminescence of her skin pulses in the darkness, a subtle, enchanting effect that highlights the alien contours of her face. For a moment, neither speaks. Thane wants to ask a dozen questions about her people, her dragon, her hatred for the Dominion. Instead, he simply nods in greeting, feeling words catch in his throat. She steps closer, crossing her arms as she glances skyward. "You watch the stars as though they might hold an answer." He follows her gaze, noticing a bright cluster of them flickering in unison. "They might, or maybe it's just wishful thinking," he says. "What about you? Where do you come from?" A quiet invitation in his tone, not quite prying. Serenya's lips press into a thin line, and she releases a breath that glows faintly as it leaves her body, like a wisp of supernatural energy. "I come from a world called Kalrithia, named after my ancestors, a fortress world, once teeming with my people and their dragons before the Great Purge. The Dominion found us vulnerable, unprepared for their tactics. They slaughtered most, enslaved others, and captured the eggs of dragons yet unhatched. Mytherion was one of the few who survived. We escaped, but at great cost." Her voice trembles with a controlled fury. Thane lowers his eyes. "I'm sorry," he says softly, recognizing her pain. She tightens her jaw as though resisting the urge to let emotion show. "It gives me purpose," she replies. "If I can recover what was taken, if I can ensure Mytherion remains free, I fulfill a duty to the legacy of my people. I will not falter." She peers at him, as if assessing whether he respects that conviction. He nods. I understand. The Dominion has taken from me too, took my comrades, my home. Bitterness laces his words. That's why we stand here in the dark, planning how to fight back. Because it's all we can do, right? She lifts an eyebrow, the faint luminescence on her skin flickering again, reflecting something akin to empathy. More than that, we fight because we refuse to yield, because we hold on to hope that the day will come when the Dominion finally falls. He studies her profile, noticing the fine shape of her jaw, the regal slope of her neck. A pang of unexpected admiration stirs within him, but he quickly reins it in. There is a mission at hand. They remain silent for a moment longer, gazing at the endless expanse above them, each lost in their own burdens and motivations. At length, Serenya's eyes shift to meet his. Rest while you can, Commander. Tomorrow will be decisive. She turns and walks away with a fluid grace, leaving Thane with the echo of her words. He stands there, letting the nights cool. Air wash over him, uncertain whether to feel heartened or wary that their destinies are now entangled. When dawn breaks, the valley is still and quiet, with only a faint golden light creeping over the horizon. The resistance fighters assemble, checking weapons, distributing gear, and reviewing final instructions. Thane circulates among them, offering a steadying hand on a shoulder or an encouraging nod. He stops before Serenya, who is already astride Mytherion. Her eyes gleam with a feral excitement, and Thane can almost feel the dragon's anticipation reverberating in the air. They exchange a single glance and no words. Then Mytherion unfurls his wings, launching himself and Serenya into the sky. In a whirlwind of dust, Thane shields his eyes as grit flies everywhere. Then he signals his own troops to move out. They break into small squads, taking separate paths along the canyon walls to set up their ambush. The sun has just cleared the ridgeline when the Renzai convoy appears, an armored column of vehicles flanked by armed hoverbikes. Thane steadies his breathing. This is it. The Dominion soldiers seem confident, their advanced weaponry gleaming. In the early morning light, Thane crouches behind a boulder, scanning for signs of weakness. He spots the lead vehicle, bristling with detection arrays. If it gets a lock on them, the entire raid could fail in moments. He signals to Olmar. The second-in-command aims a disruptor rifle at the lead vehicle's left thruster, firing a precise shot. Sparks cascade, and the vehicle lurches sideways, listing to the right. Immediately, Dominion soldiers shout commands, guns swiveling in search of the attackers. "Now!" Thane yells into his comm device. His squads open fire from hidden vantage points, saturating the area with blaster bolts. Explosions flare as carefully placed charges detonate beneath the middle transport, sending Dominion troopers scattering. The air fills with the acrid smell of burning metal and the chaotic roar of energy blasts. A triumphant grin tugs at Thane's lips, but he knows better than to celebrate too soon. Dominion reinforcements will come swiftly. He motions for his squads to press the advantage, to seize the weapons crates from the fallen transports. Then a shrill alarm pierces the air, accompanied by the whine of incoming Dominion air support. Before panic can set in, a shadow passes. Overhead, Mytherion dives from the sky, exhaling a torrent of flame that engulfs two hoverbikes. The bikes spiral into the sand, crashing in columns of black smoke. Serenya stands on the dragon's back, arms outstretched, channeling an electric orb that crackles through the enemy's ranks. Soldiers scream as the energy disrupts their systems, shorting out weapons and sending them flailing. Watching her direct that destructive power is both terrifying and breathtaking. Thane can see the synergy between woman and beast, the way Mytherion moves in perfect harmony with Serenya's commands. He rallies his own fighters, leading them into the fray. They surge forward with renewed vigor, catching the Dominion forces in a pincer attack. The Dominion quickly adapts. They deploy sonic cannons mounted on the rear vehicle, swirling them toward Mytherion. A piercing frequency blares, and the dragon roars in pain, wings faltering. Serenya doubles over as though stabbed, her empathic bond sharing the dragon's agony. Sensing an imminent crash, Thane scrambles across the battleground, weaving between wrecked transports and blasts of gunfire, his heart pounding. He sees Mytherion's wings buckle, and the dragon veers dangerously close to the ground. Serenya clings to the harness, her face contorted in anguish. In a moment of desperate instinct, Thane shouts, "Mytherion!" The name resonates from deep within his chest, surprising even him. The dragon's head twists as if scanning for the source of the call. Thane extends a hand, as though offering support. He has no rational explanation for why he believes this might help, only a profound certainty that it's the right action. Mytherion flaps once, trying to stabilize in mid-air. Thane hears a frantic buzzing in his ears, the aftershock of the sonic cannon's wave. The moment stretches, then the dragon unleashes an earth-shaking roar, seemingly fueled by Thane's call. Serenya recovers enough to raise her arm, channeling another arc of electricity that blasts the sonic cannon into smoldering ruins. Mytherion ascends again with a powerful downbeat of his wings, leaving a spray of sand and dust behind. Thane exhales a ragged breath of relief, but the battle rages on. He whirls around in time to see a Dominion sniper leveling a rifle at him. Before he can react, a green blur darts in front of him. Serenya, dismounted, now brandishing a crackling energy blade. She deflects the sniper's shot in a shower of sparks and strikes back in a single graceful motion, felling the Dominion soldier. She turns to Thane, eyes shimmering, chest heaving from the exertion. He reaches out to steady her, a hand gently brushing her shoulder, and the bare contact feels electric. "You all right?" he asks breathlessly. She nods, swallowing hard. "Mytherion felt the brunt of that cannon. We must destroy all of them, or he'll be vulnerable if they regroup." She scans the battlefield. Already, Dominion soldiers are rallying near another transport. "I can handle the eastern flank, but the western flank will handle it," Thane finishes, gesturing to his squads. She sprints off, weaving nimbly through smoke and blasts. Thane rallies his fighters once more. The battle crescendos, chaos swirling as both sides pour firepower into the fight. Gradually, the tide turns in favor of the resistance. With the sonic cannons destroyed, Mytherion rules the skies, raining down bursts of flame. Serenya's lightning arcs cripple the Dominion's heaviest artillery. Thane's well-coordinated squads secure the weapons crates, ensuring crucial supplies are seized. Finally, with the convoy shattered and Dominion reinforcements driven back, the battlefield goes quiet, save for the crackle of burning vehicles. Thane's fighters let out ragged cheers. He sees Olmar wiping sweat from his brow, sporting a bloody scrape on his cheek but grinning like a man who's wrestled a small miracle from the jaws of death. Thane scans for Serenya and spots her kneeling beside Mytherion, who has landed on a dune. The dragon's flanks heave with exertion, and several of his scales are scorched or dented. Thane jogs over, wary of disturbing them, but Serenya meets his gaze. She places a hand on Mytherion's snout, closing her eyes as though channeling a comforting energy. "He's wounded," she whispers, voice tight with concern. "The sonic pulses did more damage than I expected." Thane kneels, resting a cautious hand on the dragon's side. Mytherion snorts softly, but does not pull away. "Is there anything we can do?" Thane asks. A wave of genuine worry flows through him. He's only just met these two, yet the thought of losing such a majestic creature is almost unbearable. Serenya's eyes shine with something akin to gratitude. "I have a salve that helps with minor burns, but the deeper injuries will need time. I've had to heal him before, but it's not an instant process." She looks at Thane with guarded relief. "Your men fought bravely. You fought bravely." He breathes out, the tension slowly unraveling in his chest. "They'll be talking about the day we fought with a dragon for the rest of their lives." He allows himself a small smile. Serenya's lips part slightly, an echo of a smile, tugging at the corners. Then her features soften into something almost vulnerable, surprising in its openness. "Today could have ended differently for all of us," she murmurs. "But it didn't, because we fought together." Their gazes lock, and in that moment the hectic aftermath of battle quiets for them, leaving only the steady pulse of adrenaline and the hush of possibility. He notices the subtle glow under her skin, flickering like embers. She notices how his expression relaxes, that ever-present tension in his brow easing. He's not sure who leans in first, but it doesn't quite matter. A tentative warmth passes. Between them, the memory of her imposing challenge, submit or perish, feels distant now, replaced by the reality of shared survival. Olmar's approach breaks the moment. He clears his throat, though he tactfully stops a few paces away. "Commander, we've secured the crates. We need to move out before more Dominion forces arrive." Thane rises, extending a hand to help. "Serenya, up!" She accepts, and they stand side by side before Mytherion, who lets out a low rumble. "We should get to safer ground," she agrees, though concern still flickers in her voice. "It may take some time for him to be battle-ready." "Again, we've got a secondary hideout," Thane offers. "It's larger than the cave and better fortified. We can treat Mytherion there." He glances at his second-in-command. "Olmar, coordinate with the squads. We move out in 5. "Yes, sir." Within minutes, they're on the move. Mytherion walks slowly behind them, smoke curling from his nostrils in short, pained snorts. Serenya walks by his flank, sometimes resting a reassuring hand on his scales. Thane commands the front, keeping watch for signs of enemy pursuit. They proceed over dunes and rocky outcrops until they reach a labyrinthine network of canyons that leads to an underground bunker carved into a mountainside, a relic from an older war. Inside, the bunker is dimly lit by emergency lamps. Broken machinery and crates of salvage supplies line the main corridor. The air carries a stale, metallic tang. Though it's not the most welcoming place, it's defensible and off the Dominions. Usual patrol routes. The wide main chamber offers enough space for Mytherion to rest. Serenya kneels beside him, examining his injuries in detail. She removes a small vial from a pouch at her hip, pouring a glowing liquid onto the worst of the burns. Mytherion growls softly at the sting, and she murmurs soothing words in a language that sounds like the hiss of wind through alien trees. Thane stands a short distance away, ensuring no one else disturbs them. He's unsure whether she wants help or privacy. She seems so connected to the dragon, an empathic bond that transcends anything he's witnessed. He finds his chest tightening with an uninvited empathy of his own, imagining the pain she must feel seeing her companion wounded. He wants to reach out, to offer comfort, but some part of him hesitates. Their alliance is fresh, their trust fragile. When she finishes applying the salve, she turns. He should rest. Movement aggravates the injuries. She brushes back a strand of her black hair, eyes still shining with residual concern. Thane nods. "We'll post guards. The Dominion won't catch us off guard here." He pauses, then places a hand lightly on her shoulder. She tenses momentarily, but doesn't pull away. "If you need anything, just ask." Her gaze flicks from his hand to his eyes, and a subtle shiver passes through her. "Thank you," she says, voice quieter than before. She looks as though she wants to say more, but the words don't come. Instead, she glances back to Mytherion. "He's always been there for me, since I was a child, and he was just a hatchling. Losing him would be like losing myself." Thane's grip on her shoulder tightens slightly, a gentle reassurance. "I understand. I've lost people, but I've never had a bond like that. It must be powerful." She nods slowly, and for a moment the flickering lamplight reveals a vulnerability in her expression. "It's both a gift and a curse. He shares in my joys, but also in my pain, and I share in his. We cannot hide from each other's suffering. That is why I fight so fiercely to protect him. He lowers his hand, stepping back to give her space. You've done well so far. Exhaustion creeps into her stance. The adrenaline from the battle fades, leaving them both drained. We can speak more later, Thane says softly. Rest if you can. She agrees with a small nod. Then, as if an unspoken question crosses her mind, she looks at him again. Thane, thank you for what you did out there. I felt your presence. When Mytherion nearly fell, you seemed to help anchor him somehow. He shrugs, unsure how to explain it himself. I just shouted his name. Maybe it reminded him he wasn't alone. He offers a hesitant smile, uncertain if that sounds foolish. Serenya's lips curve into a faint smile in return. Then she focuses on her dragon once more, stroking his scales. The moment ends, but the undercurrent between them lingers, a realization that their bond is not just strategic. Something deeper, perhaps elemental, is sparking. Days pass as they recover and fortify. Thane's team repairs weapons and sets up defensive measures around the bunker. Serenya devotes most of her time to healing Mytherion, applying alien salves, whispering soothing incantations, occasionally venturing into the desert to gather rare herbs that grow beneath the scorching sun. Thane leads small scouting operations, verifying that the Dominion has pulled back from the area to regroup after the humiliating ambush. Night after night, the tension between Thane and Serenya simmers. Their discussions revolve around the threat of the Dominion, the vulnerability of the dragon, and potential future strikes. But beneath the tactical talk, there is an unspoken awareness. When they stand too close, energy prickles between them like static. Their gazes linger a fraction too long. The men notice too, whispering rumors and speculations about the unusual closeness of their commander and the dragon warrior. A few days later, Thane is alone in one of the side chambers, inspecting a battered piece of machinery that once served as a shield generator. He hopes to salvage some parts that might help defend the bunker. His thoughts drift to Serenya, recalling the golden hue of her eyes in the lamplight, the subtle flush that rippled over her skin when he touched her shoulder. He tries to shake the thoughts away. There is much at stake. He cannot afford distractions. Yet he cannot deny the magnetism he feels whenever she is near. He hears footsteps, light and cautious. He turns to find Serenya in the doorway, her eyes reflecting the faint glow of the overhead lamp. "Am I disturbing you?" she asks quietly, sounding almost tentative. He shakes his head, setting aside a twisted coil of wiring. "No, not at all." She steps inside, letting the metal door slide shut behind her. For a moment, she studies the scattered parts on the table. "Always working. Is that how you deal with everything?" He offers a wry smile. "I suppose so. Occupying my hands keeps the memories at bay, at least for a while." She draws closer, close enough that he can see the fine lines etched into her cheeks, hinting at weariness. "I know what that's like. My battles keep me so focused I rarely pause to remember how much has been lost." She hesitates, then places her slender green fingers on his hand. The sensation is cool, but charged with an unfamiliar warmth. His heart thuds in his chest. "How is Mytherion?" he asks softly, searching her gaze. She exhales. "Better. Strong enough to fly if needed, but he still tires easily. Every day I strengthen the bond to help him heal." She brushes a lock of hair behind her ear. "He trusts you now, you know." "That's mutual," Thane murmurs, turning his palm over to gently clasp her fingers. She doesn't pull away, and a moment stretches between them. "He's a remarkable creature. I've never felt such awe. When we fought together, it was unlike anything I've experienced." She nods, eyes drifting shut for a moment, as though she's reliving that synergy in her mind. Dragons choose. who they allow near them. In all these years, I've never seen Mytherion accept another person so quickly. She opens her eyes again. You must carry something in your spirit that resonates with him. He lets out a quiet laugh, tinged with self-deprecation. I'm not sure what that would be. I'm just a soldier trying to save his people. She searches his face with a thoughtful intensity. You risked your life to protect me and Mytherion without hesitation. That is not something many would do for a stranger. He swallows. The air in the room seems thick. You're not a stranger anymore, he says softly. It's the truth. He can't pinpoint when she stopped being an unknown threat and started being a presence he respects, even admires. She draws a step closer, so close that he can sense the faint glow emanating from her skin. No, she whispers. Perhaps we never truly were. He lifts his free hand to gently cradle her cheek. Her skin is softer than he imagined, warm, despite its green hue and the scale-like ridges near her temple. She leans into his touch, closing her eyes. He feels his heart pounding, a rush of blood that roars in his ears like a distant tide. She tilts her face up, her lips parting slightly. A moment of hesitation flickers within Thane. He's known tragedy, lost so much. Could he risk attaching himself to someone whose life is equally fraught with danger? A single glance into her luminous gaze dispels his doubts. Something in her expression speaks of the same vulnerability, the same longing for connection that he feels. Consent is mutual, unspoken, yet undeniably clear. They move closer, lips meeting in a tentative kiss that grows more certain with each breath. Her mouth is warm, tasting faintly of the herbal concoction she uses for Mytherion. His calloused fingers slide along her neck, drawing her closer, while her hand curls into the fabric of his shirt. In that intimate exchange, they both pour out the fears and yearnings they've been harboring. When they finally break apart, breathless, her eyes shimmer with unshed tears. "Thane," she murmurs, voice husky with emotion. She seems almost surprised by the intensity of the moment. He presses his forehead to hers, inhaling the scent of her hair. "I'm here," he answers simply. They stand there for a few more heartbeats, letting the closeness ground them. Eventually, he forces himself to speak. "We should be cautious." His words are soft, tinged with regret at breaking the fragile spell. "The Renzai aren't idle. They'll be planning a counterattack." She nods, stepping back. "Of course, and we have more to do than savor fleeting moments." Her tone is pragmatic, but there's a lingering softness in her eyes that wasn't there before. "Still, I'm glad we shared this." He offers a small, genuine smile. "So am I." They spend the rest of the night coordinating potential strategies, but the tension between them has shifted. Where before there was guarded respect, now there is a gentle current of hope threading through their conversation. When they part ways, Thane returns to the main hall, where a few men sit around flickering lanterns, cleaning rifles. They notice the subtle shift in his demeanor. He appears lighter somehow. Morning arrives, harsh and relentless. Scouts report signs of Dominion movement near the outskirts of the canyon. Thane calls a meeting of the resistance leaders, including Serenya, who stands with arms folded and an air of thoughtful concern. The Dominion, it seems, have discovered the location of the bunker and plan a full assault. As they discuss defensive strategies, a new complication arises. Word arrives that a high-ranking official of the Dominion, a cunning strategist known for capturing and enslaving alien creatures, is leading the assault. The news visibly affects Serenya. Her skin flares with an agitated glow. "He's the one who oversaw the purge on Kalrithia," she says through clenched teeth. "I cannot let him leave this planet alive." Thane gazes at her, understanding the fire in her eyes. "We'll stop him," he says, voice resolute. Inside, however, a swirl of uncertainty churns. Their forces are outnumbered and weary, and Mytherion is still recovering. Yet he can't deny the thirst for justice that resonates in Serenya's words. Olmar stands. "Commander, we can fortify this bunker, set traps in the canyons. If they come, we'll be ready. But if that official has advanced units or heavy artillery, it could turn this place into a tomb." Serenya's expression hardens. "Hiding won't keep him from unleashing his cruelty on others. I say we meet them head-on. Mytherion and I can lure them into a trap from above." A debate breaks out among the fighters, some favoring a defensive stance, others wanting a preemptive strike. Thane listens, arms crossed, absorbing each viewpoint. Eventually, silence falls as they look to him for a decision. He glances at Serenya, remembering the tremor in her voice when she spoke of her homeland's purge. Then he scans the faces of his men, many of whom have lost homes and families too. "We have an advantage if we choose the battlefield," Thane says at last, keeping his voice calm but firm. "Fortifying here might hold them off, but the cost in lives could be steep if they bombard us. Instead, we'll set a trap. We know these canyons better than they do. We can use vantage points, rock falls, and concealed charges to bottleneck their advance." He rests a hand lightly on the table. "Serenya, Mytherion, you'll be our aerial unit. Keep them disoriented. Force them to split their forces." Olmar exhales, running a hand over his short-cropped hair. "It's a risk, but it might be our best shot." Serenya nods, her gaze flicking to Thane with silent gratitude. The plan is set. They prepare through the day, planting explosives, marking safe paths, coordinating signals. Thane occasionally assists Serenya in applying a fresh coating of salve to Mytherion's wounds. The dragon tolerates his touch, and Thane senses less tension in the creature's body. Serenya thanks him with a soft look, and though words remain unspoken, their bond deepens in those shared tasks. By twilight, the trap is ready. Scouts confirm the Dominion forces are approaching from the east. Thane positions his men in narrow gullies, behind ledges, and on high cliffs. Serenya and Mytherion wait perched on a towering rock spire that overlooks the main route. The tension in the air is palpable, reminiscent of the hush before a thunderstorm. Thane finds himself crouched behind a boulder, his heart drumming an unsteady rhythm. He glances up, spotting Serenya's silhouette against the darkening sky. Even from this distance, he senses her steeled resolve. A line of armored vehicles appears at the canyon mouth, a phalanx of Dominion troops marching in lockstep behind. Them, hoverbikes buzz along the flanks, scanning for ambushes. Thane's men hold their breath, waiting for the perfect moment. Then, at Thane's signal, Olmar triggers a series of small explosive charges along the cliff edges. Rocks cascade down, blocking the path behind the first wave of Dominion vehicles, effectively isolating them from reinforcements. As the Dominion scrambles to respond, Mytherion swoops down with a roar that shakes the canyon walls. The dragons. Flame incinerates a group of Dominion soldiers, forcing the rest to scatter. Serenya stands on the dragon's back, unleashing arcs of crackling energy that disable the vehicle's turrets. Thane and his men emerge from cover, raining blaster. Fire upon the disoriented troops. The canyon echoes with gunfire, explosions, and the fierce roars of Mytherion. Soldiers scream, diving for cover, only to find themselves pinned by falling debris or pinned down by the Resistance's precise shots. The Dominion official steps out of a command vehicle clad in ornate black armor. His face is severe, with deep-set eyes that betray a ruthless cunning. He snarls orders, rallying his elites to cut off Mytherion's flight path. Thane sees them power up a new type of pulse cannon, and dread clutches him. "Serenya, watch out!" he shouts into his comm, but the static-laced channel offers no response. Mytherion circles overhead, preparing another pass. Before they can. "Strike!" The Dominion officials aim the pulse cannons skyward. A bright beam of disruptive energy lances out, striking Mytherion in the wing. The dragon roars in pain, spiraling downward. Serenya clings to him, trying to steer him away from a fatal crash. Thane rushes forward, ignoring the hail of gunfire. He leads a small group in a desperate push to reach the pulse cannon. Blaster bolts scorch the ground at his feet, and he narrowly dodges a crackling energy blade wielded by a Dominion trooper. With a swift slash of his own sword, he takes down the trooper and continues his charge. Olmar and another fighter lay down covering fire, picking off soldiers who try to intercept them. Mytherion smashes into the canyon floor with a thunderous impact, dust and debris flying in all directions. Serenya is thrown clear, rolling across the gravel. Thane's heart plunges into his stomach. He sees her struggle to rise, a trail of blood marking her path. Mytherion lets out a weakened roar, his flank badly burned. Dominion soldiers converge on the fallen dragon. Thane yells, rallying his men to keep pushing. The Dominion official, flanked by heavily armored elites, strides toward Serenya, an energy pistol in hand. "You!" he sneers, voice echoing in the canyon, "the last of Kalrithia's wretches. Do you know how long I've waited to claim that dragon for our cause?" Serenya coughs, struggling to stand. "You will never lay a hand on Mytherion," she spits, though her voice trembles with pain. She raises her arms, trying to summon a bolt of energy, but her strength falters. The official laughs coldly, leveling his pistol. "Your arrogance ends today." Thane breaks through the ring of Dominion soldiers, his blade slicing an elite guard's arm clean off. Sparks fly from the soldier's damaged exosuit. "Get away from her!" he roars, voice laden with rage. The official turns just as Thane lunges. They clash in a brutal flurry of strikes. The official's pistol is knocked from his grip, but he counters with a vicious punch to Thane's ribs. Pain explodes in Thane's side, but he refuses to yield. He drives forward, using every ounce of fury to push the official back. They tumble onto the rocky ground, grappling for an advantage. Meanwhile, Serenya crawls toward Mytherion, who shudders in pain, struggling to lift his head. She places a trembling hand on his snout, tears streaking her cheeks. "Hold on," she whispers. She can feel his agony coursing through her bond. A swirl of desperation coils in her chest. She closes her eyes, trying to focus. She can feel the lingering sparks of her elemental power, but it's flickering like a dying flame. Mytherion's golden eyes meet hers. A wave of raw emotion crashes between them. She hears the clang of metal behind her. Thane and the official grapple for control of Thane's sword, both covered in dust and sweat. The official manages to twist the weapon out of Thane's grip, sending it skittering away. Thane staggers back, and the official draws a hidden knife from his boot, slashing at Thane's arm. Blood spatters across the gravel. Thane reels, pain blurring his vision. Serenya forces herself to stand, despite the agony in her limbs. She raises her hand, channeling what remains of her power. A flicker of greenish lightning dances around her fingertips. She staggers forward, but her injury makes it impossible to maintain full control. Mytherion lets out a pained rumble, attempting to rise as well, but collapses again, wings trembling. The official smirks, pressing his advantage against Thane, who is barely holding off the knife. "Your people are finished," the official growls, "and that beast will serve the Dominion," with a burst of determination fueled by equal parts love and fury. Serenya hurls a bolt of energy. The official senses it too late. The lightning scorches across his body, knocking him away from Thane. He lands hard, smoke rising from the scorched plating of his armor. Serenya staggers, drained. Thane gasps for breath, cradling his wounded arm. Olmar and a squad of resistance fighters arrive, blasting at the remaining Dominion troopers who scramble to protect their fallen leader. Gunfire echoes as the troopers are pinned or forced to retreat. Thane stumbles to his sword, picking it up with his uninjured hand. He looks to Serenya, who stands unsteady, panting. Their eyes meet, and he sees the silent plea in hers. They have to finish this. He limps toward the official, who is coughing and struggling to stand. The man's expression twists into pure hatred. With a flick of a hidden mechanism in his gauntlet, he unleashes a final desperate energy pulse at Thane. Thane tries to dodge, but the blast clips his leg, searing flesh. He collapses to one knee, sword wobbling in his hand. Serenya summons her last reserves of power, but the official levels a second device at Mytherion, a small sphere that begins to hum ominously. She recognizes it instantly, a subjugation device, designed to sever the bond between a dragon and its rider, effectively putting the dragon under dominion control. Horrified, she screams, "No!" The official sneers, pressing the device's activation. Mytherion roars in absolute terror, the bond with Serenya crackling as arcs of unnatural energy coil around his great form. Pain lances through Serenya's mind, echoing her dragon's torment. She collapses to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Thane!" she cries, voice edged with desperation. With every ounce of willpower, Thane forces himself up, ignoring the searing agony in his leg. He lunges at the official, slamming his shoulder into the man and knocking the device from his hand. It tumbles away, flickering dangerously. The official grapples with Thane, but Thane pivots, using the official's momentum against him, and drives his blade clean through the man's armor. The official gasps, eyes bulging with shock as the sword's tip emerges from his back. Thane twists the blade, ending the Dominion officer's life. The subjugation device sputters on the ground, still pulsing with partial energy. Serenya crawls toward it, tears blurring her vision. She extends a trembling hand and manages to release a small surge of her power to fry its circuits. The device sparks, then fizzles out, the hum dying to silence. Instantly Mytherion's roars subside, though he remains badly injured. Olmar and his squad finish off the few remaining Dominion troops, leaving the canyon in eerie silence, broken only by the crackle of fires and the hiss of cooling metal. Thane pulls his sword free, staggering. Blood trickles down his arm and leg. He turns to Serenya and Mytherion, limping toward them. His breath hitches at the sight of her collapsed near the dragon, her body trembling with exertion and pain. He falls to his knees beside her, ignoring his own injuries. "Serenya," he chokes out, his voice raw with worry. She looks up at him, her eyes clouded with exhaustion and grief. "Is he?" Thane glances at Mytherion. The dragon's breathing is shallow, a low, rasping rumble. She reaches to place her hand on Mytherion's scales, pressing her forehead against them. "Still alive," she whispers, "but weak." Her voice breaks. She lifts her gaze to Thane, tears running down her cheeks, leaving faint glowing trails across her green skin. Thane gently cups her face, wiping a tear with his thumb. "We'll get him back to the bunker. We'll heal him again. We'll heal you both." She tries to nod, but the movement is shaky. Thane beckons Olmar, who rushes over with a medic. Carefully, they tend to Thane and Serenya's wounds as best they can in the field, while half a dozen fighters maneuver around the fallen dragon, building a makeshift sled. Mytherion is massive, but with the help of an anti-grav lifter salvaged from a Dominion transport, they manage to stabilize the dragon enough to move him. The day ends with a ragged retreat back through the canyons, battered yet victorious. At the bunker, the medics work tirelessly on both Thane and Serenya. She refuses to rest until she's certain Mytherion's breathing has returned to a steady rhythm. Only then does she allow herself to collapse onto a makeshift cot. Thane, bandaged and stitched, visits her as soon as he's able to stand. He limps into the room, ignoring the dull throb of his leg. She lies there, eyes half shut. Her glow is dimmer than usual, but the corners of her mouth quirk up when she sees him. "You've looked better," she manages, voice rasping. He huffs a quiet laugh, gingerly sitting on the edge of the cot. "Likewise. But we're alive. You saved me out there, you know." She exhales, her chest tight with lingering pain. We saved each other. She raises a hand, taking his. Her grip is weak, but filled with warmth. Mytherion, he'll live, thanks to you. That device... She closes her eyes, recalling the horror of feeling her bond ripped away. I can't lose him. He strokes her hand softly. You won't. I promise you. A beat passes. He leans down, pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead, letting his lips linger against her cool, sweat-damp skin. Rest, he whispers. We've won a great victory. The Dominion official who oversaw the purge is dead. Her eyes flutter open with a look of relief, mixed with sorrow. Thank you, she murmurs. Whether she's thanking him for the victory, the rescue, or the tender moment, she doesn't clarify, and he doesn't ask. He stays by her side, letting the hush of the bunker settle over them. Outside, he hears the distant hum of machinery and the low murmurs of his men. There is no immediate threat now. They have earned a breath of peace. In the days that follow, their injuries slowly heal. Mytherion recovers under Serenya's devoted care, supported by the salves and the empathy she channels. She teaches Thane snippets of her people's healing techniques, letting him help with applying ointments or whispering soft, melodic words meant to soothe the dragon's spirit. Thane is amazed by how the alien chant seems to resonate, calming. The wounded beast, the stolen Dominion supplies, and the demise of the high-ranking official grant the resistance a significant morale boost. More local fighters flock to their cause. The Renzai, meanwhile, pull back some of their forces, likely re-evaluating their strategy after such a costly defeat. This lull gives Thane and Serenya the rare gift of time to solidify their alliance, to explore the new depths of their relationship, and to plan for the uncertain future. It's during one of these quieter evenings that Thane finds Serenya in a secluded part of the bunker. She sits on a crate, running her fingertips along an ornate pendant she wears around her neck, carved in the shape of a dragon's head. Mytherion rests nearby, dozing peacefully. Thane notices how her posture softens when he enters, as though his presence is a small comfort. He sits next to her, wincing slightly as his leg twinges. Another day of peace, he says, letting the relief show in his voice. She tilts her head, regarding him with a thoughtful gaze. It's strange to be still after so much fighting, so much chaos. She traces the pendant again. In my culture, we believe that in stillness, we commune with the spirits of our ancestors, and they guide us. He nods. In my culture, we believe in forging our own path, but I've also come to appreciate that we all carry the ghosts of those who've gone before us. Her eyes reflect a wistful sadness. My entire race is nearly gone. I wonder if the spirits can even hear me now. Sometimes I feel so alone. Gently, he places a hand over hers, stilling her anxious movements. You're not alone anymore, Serenya. She looks down at their hands, then meets his gaze. I know, she breathes, the glow in her skin intensifying slightly. This is new to me, this sense that I can rely on someone else. Mytherion has always been my anchor, but even that bond was born of tragedy. With you, I feel something different. He feels his pulse quicken. I feel it too. I don't have the right words, but it's there, between us. His grip tightens gently. And it's not just because we've fought together or because we share an enemy. She nods slowly. No, it's something deeper, something that I don't want to lose. A flicker of trepidation shadows her face, as though admitting it makes her vulnerable. His voice drops to a softer tone. We have a chance, now that the Dominion is set back. We can fight side by side, but also live side by side, if you want that. She cups his cheek with her free hand, her eyes searching. His face. Thane Rathmore, your words are bold. Are you certain? He manages a soft half-laugh. Bold is about the only way I know how to be. He leans in, brushing his lips against hers. The kiss is gentle, warm, a confirmation of the unspoken promise between them. When they part, she exhales, trembling slightly. I want it too. Time slows as they hold each other, the hum of the bunker's machinery fading into the background. For a moment, their burdens lift, replaced by a fragile happiness. Mytherion stirs, rumbling as if in approval, and Serenya smiles against Thane's lips. Their newfound closeness continues to grow. They spar together, refining combat techniques. They exchange stories of their pasts, revealing scars both physical and emotional. Thane confides the darkest moment of his life, when he lost an entire squad on Trelmos. She opens up about the day she watched her hatchery siblings slaughtered by Dominion raiders. Each revelation binds them further, forging a bond of empathy and respect, yet the war is not over. Scouts bring news that the Dominion has withdrawn to a stronghold, amassing forces for a counterstrike that could overwhelm the entire region. Thane calls a council, laying out the intelligence. We can't fend off a full invasion if they decide to come at us with everything they've got, he states grimly, scanning the faces around him. Serenya stands at his side, arms crossed. We need a different strategy, perhaps striking at their command structure before they can mobilize. Olmar glances at the map. Commander, we've done well, but we don't have the numbers for a direct assault on their stronghold. A hush falls, tension sparking in the air. That's when Serenya steps forward, a determined gleam in her eye. Long ago, my people developed a hidden sanctuary for dragons. It's on a nearby planet, Calthor 4, shrouded by illusions. If Mytherion and I can draw the Dominion's fleet away, your forces might be able to sabotage their station and destroy their warships. That could tip the balance. Thane tenses. That sounds dangerous. You'd be leaving the planet, luring the Dominion fleet across space, hoping they chase you. We can't guarantee your safety out there. The thought of her risking herself alone tears at him. He wants to protect her, but also respects her fierce independence. She meets his gaze, resolve etched into her features. If we don't break their power soon, they'll destroy every free world in their path. Mytherion and I are uniquely suited to lead them on a chase. We can hide among asteroid fields, slip through warp gates, and use my illusions to mask our energy signature. Meanwhile, you'll be free to strike the stronghold. Olmar and the other leaders exchange uncertain looks. Thane folds his arms, exhaling slowly. And if the Dominion sees through the ruse, Serenya's voice drops. Then Mytherion and I fight to the last breath. But I've used these illusions before. We can hold our own long enough. A painful silence follows. Thane feels the weight of her proposal. He knows it might work, but the risk is monumental. I won't lose you, he says quietly, only for her to hear. She brushes her fingertips against his arm. You won't, she promises, though they both know how uncertain that is. The council debates, eventually concluding that Serenya's plan might be their only hope. They set a timetable. She and Mytherion will leave at dawn. Once the Dominion fleet is drawn away, Thane's forces will launch an all-out attack on the stronghold, aiming to cripple or capture their capital ships while they're undermanned. After that, with luck, the Dominion's stranglehold on the region will be broken. Night falls, and with it comes a bittersweet hush in the bunker. Thane finds Serenya in Mytherion's chamber, where she's preparing a small cache of supplies for the flight. The dragon watches her with a solemn gaze, occasionally rumbling as though offering input. Thane's heart twists. I'll help you pack, he offers, voice tight. She turns to him, and for a moment their roles as warrior and commander slip away, replaced by something more intimate. She embraces him, leaning her head against his broad chest. He holds her, resting his chin atop her hair. If this is goodbye, he begins, but she hushes him. Not goodbye, she murmurs fiercely. I'll come back. Her eyes shine, with unshed tears as she lifts her face to his. I choose to believe in our future. He gently sweeps a lock of her hair behind her pointed ear, letting his fingers graze the delicate ridges. "So do I." He presses a fervent kiss to her lips, pouring all his desperation and devotion into that moment. She kisses him back, her grip on his arms tightening, her body trembling against him. The dragon snorts softly, as if acknowledging their bond. When they finally part, they rest their foreheads together, breathing each other in. Hours later, the first glow of dawn creeps into the sky. The entire base gathers to see Serenya and Mytherion off. Thane stands at the forefront, arms crossed, trying to project confidence instead of the ache in his chest. Serenya mounts Mytherion, offering one last nod to Thane. He nods back, forcing a smile. With a sweep of the dragon's mighty wings, they lift into the rose-gold light of day, soon disappearing into the clouds. The next few days pass in a tense blur. The scouts confirm that the Dominion fleet has departed their stronghold, chasing a rogue dragon across multiple star systems. Sporadic transmissions hint at partial illusions, confounding the Dominion's senses, but no one can confirm Serenya's safety. Thane pours himself into the preparations for the upcoming assault, refusing to let doubt paralyze him. Finally, the day of the strike arrives. The resistance mobilizes everything they have, every soldier, every salvaged vehicle, every improvised bomb. Thane leads them across the desert, bypassing Dominion outposts. When they reach the stronghold, they find it manned by a skeleton crew, just as they'd hoped. The aerial defenses are minimal, many ships absent. With a thunderous charge, they breach the gates. Explosions rock the perimeter. The skeleton crew fights back with surprising vigor, but they are no match for the full force of the resistance. Thane charges through corridors, slicing through Dominion troopers, planting charges near the core of the station. The plan is to cripple the facility and its communications array, ensuring no reinforcements can be summoned. Sweat drips into his eyes as he sets the final charge. His thoughts flick to Serenya. Where is she now? Is she still alive, leading the Dominion fleet on a wild chase? He forces himself to focus. The station must fall. A sudden, fierce firefight erupts in the main hangar. Thane rushes in, seeing Dominion elites guarding the few ships that remain. The resistance is pinned down, lacking heavy firepower to break through. Thane notices an energy shield generator near the hangar's entrance. If they can disable it, they could flood the hangar with disruptor grenades. He signals Olmar, who nods, tossing Thane a special charge. Together, they sprint around the perimeter, diving behind crates as beams of energy sear the air. Thane sets the charge on the shield generator, timing the blast. When it goes off, a visible shimmer of protective energy flickers and dies. The resistance fighters surge forward, grenades flying in arcs that detonate among the Dominion elites. In a final roar of battle, the elites are overwhelmed. Olmar radios Thane. "Commander, we've secured the station. The Dominion's weapons are offline. We've done it." A wave of relief, tinged with disbelief, sweeps through Thane. He nods, panting. "Activate the meltdown sequences. This place needs to be inoperable." He moves swiftly, calling out orders. Resistance engineers hack the control panels, ensuring the station cannot be used again. Within minutes, alarms blare as the meltdown protocols initiate. They have a narrow window to evacuate. Troops scramble back outside to waiting transports. Thane lingers near the command center, scanning the displays for any sign of the Dominion fleet's location. Static flickers across the monitors. Then for a fleeting moment, he catches a garbled transmission. Dragon, warp signature, Kalrithian illusions. He hears what might be Serenya's voice, breathless and urgent, but the feed cuts out, replaced by static. His heart seizes. He doesn't know if she's alive or in danger. Explosions rock the station, warning of imminent collapse. Olmar yells at him from the corridor. "Commander, we have to go." Thane clenches his teeth and sprints after him. They barely clear the perimeter when the building implodes in a plume of smoke and fire. Soldiers cheer as the Dominion's once mighty stronghold crumbles, but Thane's throat is dry. Victory feels hollow without knowing Serenya's fate. Under the midday sun, the resistance forces regroup, exultant but wary. Thane stares up at the empty sky, longing for a silhouette of bronze wings. Hours pass. Word spreads that the Dominion has effectively retreated from the region. No warships remain in orbit. Still, no sign of Mytherion. Sunset draws near, painting. The sky in crimson and gold. Thane stands atop a ridge, scanning the horizon. Olmar approaches softly. "Commander, we're pulling out. Can't stay exposed here." Thane nods absently, sorrow draping his thoughts like a shroud. Then he hears a distant roar echo across the wind. He freezes, heart pounding. Olmar's eyes widen, and they both whip their heads toward the sky. A dark speck in the distance grows larger, accompanied by the thunder of massive wings. Mytherion appears, wings tattered, flapping with labored effort. Serenya clings to the saddle, her posture slumped. They descend in a spiral, kicking up sand as they land. Resistance. Fighters rush forward, cheering, but Thane breaks into a run, ignoring the pain in his healing leg. He reaches Mytherion's side. The dragon's flanks are scarred anew, but Mytherion's eyes glow with a fierce pride. Serenya slides off, stumbling. Thane catches her, arms wrapping around her waist. She sags against him, exhausted but alive. "You did it," he breathes, voice cracking with emotion. She nods, gasping for air. "We led them on a wild chase, illusions. The Kalthor Nebula. They fired blindly at shadows." Mytherion soared through debris fields, losing them one by one. Her eyes glimmer as she looks up at him. "We nearly got trapped, but we escaped through a warp gate. It collapsed behind us. They're stranded who knows where." He laughs, shakily, relief pouring over him. The station is gone. The region is free from Dominion control. He cups her face, wiping the dust and sweat from her cheeks. "Are you hurt?" She manages a weary grin. "Just battered and exhausted." Mytherion too. Her gaze drifts to the battered dragon, who lowers his head, allowing Olmar to cautiously approach. The men begin tending to the creature's wounds, no longer frightened. The bond that has formed between them and the dragon is evident. Thane looks back to her, heart overflowing. "You kept your promise. You came back." She raises a trembling hand to his chest. "Because I believe in our future." The words carry the weight of a vow. He leans in, pressing a tender kiss to her, lips ignoring the onlookers. The cheers of the resistance fade into the background, replaced by the rush of his heartbeat and the warmth of her in his arms. When they part, tears of joy mingle with the dust on her cheeks. Over the following weeks, the region stabilizes under the newly formed alliance of free worlds. The Dominion, crippled by the loss of their stronghold and main fleet, withdraws. Even further, Thane helps organize a provisional council, ensuring that local leaders can rebuild without slipping into another power vacuum. Serenya, freed from the immediate burdens of war, devotes time to fully healing Mytherion and to forging new friendships among the varied races that once feared dragons. One twilight evening, as the newfound peace begins to feel tangible, Thane finds Serenya waiting by a cliff that overlooks a lush canyon oasis. It's a place reclaimed from the desert by a diverted river, symbolizing the region's potential rebirth. Mytherion perches nearby, dozing contentedly, the glow of the setting sun reflecting off his scales. She stands at the edge, the breeze, catching her black hair, her green skin glimmering with that faint bioluminescence he has come to cherish. He approaches quietly, sliding an arm around her waist. She leans into him, resting her head on his shoulder. They share a moment of companionable silence, watching the sun slip below the horizon in a dazzling array of colors. "I never thought I'd see a future like this," she confesses softly. a future with hope, with you. He tightens his hold on her, placing a gentle kiss atop her head. Neither did I, but I'm grateful beyond words that we made it here. He turns, her to face him, his dark eyes reflecting the soft light. Serenya Kalrithia, I want to stand by your side wherever that takes us. She smiles, eyes shining. Then stand you shall, and I will stand by yours, Thane Rathmore. Their lips meet in a lingering kiss, sealing the bond that has grown. From shared battles and shared hearts, they break apart, gazing at each other with a mixture of contentment and excitement for what lies ahead. Mytherion shifts, emitting a low rumble that sounds almost like approval. Serenya laughs softly. He is happy, she murmurs. He senses we are finally at peace, or at least closer to it than we have ever been. Thane smiles. Then let's give him something else to celebrate. We should see if your illusions can help us find that hidden sanctuary again. Perhaps we can make it a refuge for more than just dragons, a place of safety for anyone who has suffered under the dominion. Serenya's eyes brighten with the spark of possibility. A place to rebuild the legacies lost. My ancestors' knowledge, your people's hope. We could do that. He nods. We will do that. Together. He laces his fingers with hers, turning to gaze at the horizon one last time as the sky darkens to a deep violet. It feels like the beginning of an era where scars can heal and hearts can dare to love without fear. As the stars begin to blink into existence overhead, they stand side by side with Mytherion watching over them. The hush of the evening envelops them, and in that peaceful silence their future unfolds, unburdened by the Dominion's chains, guided by a shared determination to protect what they love, and illuminated by the warmth that pulses in their joined hands. They remain there quietly acknowledging the journey that has led them to this moment. Every scar, every loss, every triumph has shaped their bond. And as night fully embraces the world around them, they share one more gentle kiss, a promise that neither submission nor threats could create. A promise born of mutual respect, courageous hearts, and the undeniable power of love.